Hello, and welcome to your Saturn series. It is my honor to be coming to you guys today to talk to you about the planet Saturn in astrology. And what do you know? Here Saturn is right here. Oh, shoot. Hello, Saturn. So, yes, we have a hieroglyph. I don't know really what we would call this, but my little planet Saturn is with us here. So of course, I'm going to have a little intro video in the beginning of all these. Let's make sure I'm, Saturn material. And let me tell you, before these videos, woo, I can feel the Saturn energy. Like, I guess we'll just get talking about it, guys. So, well, just a little fun fact. I am actually, I would say, a pretty important advocate of Saturn because I have a Capricorn rising, so that makes me very Saturnian ruled. And also, I'm just going to mute my computer so we don't have any distractions. And I have Saturn on my sun. So in astrology, sometimes we will have planets conjunct certain signs, right? And so for me, I was just lucky enough to be born with my sun in Pisces at 14 degrees. And what do you know? Saturn at 14 degrees Pisces as well. So I just couldn't let Saturn change signs without me talking about how just fabulous he is, right, guys? So this is some channeled messages. I'm just going to be channeling today. I have some notes here, though. I do have some notes just so everything can stay structured and timely and things like that. So let's get into a little bit about what Saturn represents and stands for in astrology, and then we can get into what Saturn's most recent shift into Capricorn is going to be affecting you personally by your sign, your astrology sign. So Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, right? Capricorn is the 10th house in astrology. So that has everything to do with our career, our legacies, our long distance goals. So I would say when it comes to career and when it comes to our long distance goals and when it comes to our legacies, that's a very serious, part of the chart. The 10th house is also our midheaven. So our midheaven in astrology is symbolic for, well, our career, of course, but more so the direction in life that we need to go. Okay, so it's interesting to compare the midheaven to the north node because the midheaven is kind of like a mini north node in our astrology charts. And according to the midheaven, you can determine what your astrological boss is because the 10th house is the house of bosses and authority figures. So when we talk about the 10th house, you guys, we're also talking about Saturn. We're also talking about Capricorn. These energies all go together. They all bounce from each other, So when we think of Capricorn and we think of the mountain goat and the sea goat and how ambitious these signs are, Capricorn is actually one of the most misunderstood zodiac signs. They're very, very mysterious. Very, very mysterious. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that they're ruled by such an interesting planet. And it's not only interesting, it's just everybody wants to avoid Saturn. Like, it's not nothing to play around with. Saturn gets a bad rep. So I'm gonna be honest with you guys in these videos. And this is just my opinion. There's a lot of different, oh yeah, I got my little Saturn necklace, you guys, if anybody just saw that. I wanted to really make this symbolic for us here today. So, as I was saying, I'm going to do my best to interpret Saturn. And, since I have Saturn on my sun and since I have a Capricorn rising, I'm very, very Saturnian ruled, and I'm going to do my best to explain the good, explain the bad, explain the pretty, the ugly, and everything in between. So, Saturn. We haven't even talked about the fact that Saturn is the lord of karma. Okay, so Saturn, when I think of Saturn, I think about karma. And it's interesting that Saturn has these rings, right, that go around it because what goes around comes around, right? And that is a famous saying that is related to karma. So, it's basically you reap what you sow, you know what I mean? And I'm a very, very advocate for that. I very much believe in that people, get what they deserve, whether it be good or bad. So yes, Lord of Karma, Saturn is, I like to think of Saturn as a military dad. So, and not just a military dad, but a very serious father figure, right? Saturn is a very serious planet. Everything has to be serious. Everything has to be constricted. So serious that I'm gonna put this incense out after I let you guys have a little bit of the energy, I guess. But yeah, anything like that. Like, for instance, when I first started to sit down to record these videos, my computer was updating. And I hate when my computer does that because it takes so long and I'm just on a time limit today. So I just sat here for, oh my God, it took so long for my computer to update. And it was so funny to me because I'm like, Saturn, what you doing, man? What are you doing? Like, I'm trying to record your videos, So, yeah, I felt that was kind of, I think everything's a sign. So that was just kind of funny, to go through that. So yes, very serious planet that rules restrictions. Saturn is all about limitations. Okay, these are the more harsher terms. Saturn is about rules, regulations, doing everything in a timely manner, right? Saturn, it's like amazing. Like, and if you think of Saturn, and then Capricorns are Saturnian ruled people. So, the Capricorns I know, very hardworking. I'm like, how did you clean your house, go to work, pick up your dog, mow the lawn, solve world hunger, and you look fabulous? Like, how do you do that? So, shout out to the Capricorns watching. It's your energy. And, I'm a Capricorn rising, so my spirit is Capricorn, and I come off like a Capricorn, but I'm a Pisces. So, that's just an energy there. But Capricorn sun signs, they work really hard, very ambitious people, all about their goals, and actually they're a lot about respect as well, right? So when you think of Saturn as well, you have to think of respect and authority, So when it comes to authority figures, which is anybody in a uniform, the military, police officers, anything like that, that would be a Saturnian ruled figure. And I think of Saturn as a military dad, to the point where you could clean your room spick and span, and Saturn will wipe his finger on the desk and see just a little bit of dirt. I actually do have dirt on my desk, so sorry, Saturn, but he'll be like, you do it again. It wasn't right. You did it 30 seconds later than I wanted. That's not right. Now, let's get in a little bit before my intro ends here. I wanted to end it on a more positive note, because Saturn, when you think of, and I know there's some of you watching who actually did grow up, some of us had authoritarian parents. I had an Aquarius mom, and that's so ironic because Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn also rules Capricorn. So I guess, guys, when we're talking about these videos, when we're listening to this video, when we're hearing these messages today, we want to think about Aquarius and Capricorn, right? So it's interesting that Saturn is most at home in the 10th house, legacy, career, long-term goals, and also in the 11th house, which is groups of people, right? There is karma involved in groups of people, our community, our humanitarian, what we do to serve our community and the groups of people we associate with. So there is karma involved in that as well. So as I was saying, some of you who are watching, you may have grown up with an authoritarian parent, and this doesn't have to be a Capricorn or Aquarius. This could be any parent, because we all have different energy, right? This could be any parent that was just really strict. So I think strict is a good word to call Saturn. So I'm going to put that here just so I can remember that. Strict. Saturn is really strict. And okay, we're going to get into the more positive here, because where I was going with that is that, at the time when all these people are hard on us and, oh, clean it twice and don't do this and don't do that and don't do this, at the time it fucking sucks. We grow to hate these people. Saturn is a pretty hated planet, unfortunately. But throughout life we find ourselves oddly thanking these people, right? And we hate it. We hate to admit that. But it's the people who showed us structure, the people who showed us limitations and responsibility and hard work ethic. It's like going to the military when you're talking about Saturn. And it's because Saturn symbolizes, and Saturn is aware of what you do now is going to come back around to you. So if you put in the hard work now, if you're responsible now, if you work hard now, whatever you do now, it's important because it's your then. Your now is your then. Your now is your later. And that's a very Saturnian energy. So it's important, that we have these energies, because a lot of planets, and I have to say it, Neptune is one of those planets that don't really have this kind of energy. Neptune's like, chill. It'll happen when it happens, like, just do it whatever you want. It's okay that you were an hour late. It was meant to be, like water signs and water planets are, I would say, they lack boundaries. Okay, I love water. I'm a water sign. I love water. I'm all about water. But water takes the shape of its container, right? Water takes the shape of its container. And that's my little water spell that I did for the Cancer moon there. But yeah, water if you pour water into a square container, the water is going to look square, right? Water is also reflecting. So, that's a whole different story there. That's my little joke there to tell you that there's some planets that every planet, here's how I'll say this. Every planet has its duty. Every planet has its job and its position and everything like that. It has what it stands for. Every planet is symbolic for something, right? Neptune, the dream world, fantasy, illusion sometimes, Well, Saturn is actually the opposite of what you would think when you think Jupiter. And that's interesting because Jupiter rules Sagittarius, and Sagittarius comes right before Capricorn. So Jupiter, and even the symbols, I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see the symbol it's kind of dark, so I won't show it there. But just go ahead and look up the Saturn symbol, and then you can look at the Jupiter symbol, and they're kind of inverted, like it's to show you how opposite these signs are. So Jupiter is basically the opposite of the planet Saturn. Jupiter is all about expanding. It's all about making, it's the biggest planet in our solar system. So it's about expansion. It's about the higher knowledge of things, the deeper meaning, broadening your intellect and your philosophy, your teaching, learning, all that kind of stuff right there. And I'm talking about that because Saturn just got out of Sagittarius. So, Saturn being in Sagittarius, that was a very oxymoron. That was a really push and pull energy because, well, I think Saturn, I can channel Saturn, and I feel like Saturn for the past 3 years actually took a break. Like, deuces, you guys can handle your own karma. I'm going in Sagittarius where I'm going to party and put my feet up. But when I come back in 2008, if you didn't do the things that I taught you, Saturn in Scorpio, if you didn't do the things I taught you, Saturn in Libra, boy, am I going to come down hard on you. And Saturn in Capricorn, this is home, okay? Saturn is home. He's in Capricorn. And it's interesting because in 3 years, when Saturn moves into Aquarius, Saturn is home. I would say Saturn is more home in Capricorn. This grounded, quick, on its feet energy. Capricorns, they don't care. They don't have, I'm not saying Capricorns don't feel, but they don't feel as much as a water sign does. Because let me tell you, sometimes if I don't feel good enough to do something, my Capricorn rising completely gets thrown to the side. It's like, I don't feel like it. The energy today is just a little bit rough. I don't really feel like it. And then that's my emotions. I make emotional decisions. Now, Saturn is at home in the sign of Capricorn and Aquarius because those signs get shit done. They're responsible. Aquarius they're very futuristic thinking signs. So Saturn's all about your long-term goals. So it likes Aquarius. Aquarius thinks about the future. Aquarius is the star card where you're pouring from this end and you're pouring from that end. And it's interesting that Capricorn is the devil card, so that's a whole different story. I might have to do an entirely different video. Actually, I am doing kind of I'm going to be talking about the devil card and the real meaning of the devil card before Capricorn season ends. I'm going to do that a little bit towards the end of Capricorn season. That way I have a lot of energy to work with. But yeah, guys, Saturn. Okay, this is my intro video, trying to make it as structured as I can, but at the same time, I'm a Pisces, Taurus, Capricorn mix. So, this is just me being real. So I hope you're learning, and yeah, I think you'll learn more in the videos that are about your personal sign. So restrictions, limitations, boundaries. Well, but I would say boundaries is more of the positive side, right? That's why I went into that detail about water taking the shape of its glass, because water can lack boundaries sometimes. Water actually needs a foundation to have a shape, right? Water shapes us in astrology. So, you know, the good part about Saturn is that it teaches us self-control. It teaches us boundaries and limits and structure. You know, we do need those things in life, guys. So I'm glad that we have an energy in the universe that is an asshole enough to do that without caring about how we feel, right? Because sometimes we just have to get things done. This is our karma we're talking about here. When we're done with this realm, you know, we carry that with us. So Saturn is actually an energy that stays with us. Like, what do you think about this come around, go around thing? I love cycles. So Saturn works in a cycle, and it's a cycle that you create before, during, and after life. So Saturn's an energy. I feel like Saturn might be the first energy that you see when you pass on. Like, what'd you do? What'd you do with your life on Earth, huh? Did you do this? Did you do that? How long did it take you? Oh, well, you know that you're gonna have, like, the reason Saturn is so serious is because he knows that whatever you did, you will face again. So you want to just be woke. You wanna pay attention to the things that are going on around this time. You know, the karma that you're producing and designing for yourself, because we're all responsible for our own karma. And then we can get into the whole story about how you can actually affect other people's karma, which is, ooh, the karma for that is a beast. So Saturn is a very, very, very interesting energy, and I'm honored to talk to you guys today about what Saturn is going to be doing. So responsibilities, commitments, authority figures, teachers, it's a masculine energy. So Saturn actually rules our fathers. Saturn is discipline, and we talked about Saturn being rules and regulation. So that is all the hard facts about Saturn. I really just kind of want to, I have notes as well for the videos that I'll be doing for your guys' personal signs. I do want to channel a bit more though. I don't really like this structured energy, you know. It makes me feel like, okay, let's check that off, when really I just do better when I flow. Okay, so just hang in there with me, guys. You're gonna feel the Saturnian energy in me a little bit, but you're also gonna see it in that creative Pisces way, and then I'm gonna ground everything with my Taurus moon. Okay, so this is my Saturn series. My intro video is way longer than what I wanted it to be. Sorry, Saturn. All right, so just learn through me that Saturn low-key secretly understands that nothing's perfect, right? Perfection is Virgo, right? Capricorn is the cardinal earth sign. Perfection is Virgo. So Capricorn secretly knows that things can't always be perfect, guys. Okay, it's just about doing your best. Okay, it's about doing your absolute best. Work hard, play hard, things like that. The balance between work and play. It's about it's about taking yourself seriously. Okay, that's what this energy is about. So as long as you do that, and if you don't fall into that, oh, I'm not good enough, I didn't do that good enough, trust me, I'm already doing it. You know, it is what it is. You know, I need the material first. So keep this in mind, guys, that when you're doing a project or when you're doing anything that needs structure or boundaries or things like that, get it there first, do it first, and then let Saturn come in and teach you, oh, well, this was too long. You talk too long about this, that. Saturn will let you know everything that is not up to par. Okay, so let's get into your personal readings, and we will see what Saturn is doing in your astrology sign. All right, guys, I'll see you in the other videos. See ya. Hey, Virgo. You know, Virgo, I finally have some good news for you guys, right? I feel like you guys always get really harsh, doomy, gloomy news, but for my video today, you guys, I'm sure there's some, you know, with this being Saturn, this is your Saturn video, so this is all about authority and restriction and boundaries, okay? So I think it's positive news though. When I was doing, I have notes here for you guys. When I was writing the notes for your guys' video, it just felt cool. It was like, wow, like, all right, Saturn in the 5th house. So very cool, guys. I'm going to do my best here to interpret these notes I have for you. Because Saturn shifted into Capricorn. Saturn shifted into Capricorn last month, and Capricorn is your guys' fifth house. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about what that might mean for you, and Saturn's going to be here for the next 3.5 years. So the fifth house is all about pleasure and creativity. So, I mean, this is kind of an oxymoron situation, because pleasure and creativity should never have restrictions or boundaries. It's more so about not having restrictions or boundaries. Like, if you, pleasure and creativity, you know, if there's an artist and he has a blank easel, you don't want to tell the artist, well, don't use too much yellow, don't use red here, you can only use pastel colors. Like, if I know anything about creativity, and I'm a Pisces, so I'm very, very creative, you know, and creativity is pleasurable for me. I don't like to create boundaries for myself. You know, the very easel is the boundaries. And even in a coloring book, you know, the lines that you color inside of. So Virgo, this is very much about coloring outside the lines for you. How beautiful is that? Welcome to the creative life, right? So you're giving yourself, it's giving yourself time to create something, okay? With Saturn being here, it's like karmic creation. This is procreation too, okay? Because I have some notes here. So yes, this definitely does involve, you know, procreating, which is having children. So some of you, it may be in your karma for the next 3 years. If you have a kid, just know it was meant to be. I know some Virgos who are pregnant now. So it was very, very much on their karmic path for them to have this child. Now, the fifth house, Saturn is here for you. This is all about romance and romantic affairs. Okay, see how fun? I don't know how you guys are going to feel about it, but I feel a good energy. Now, since Saturn is the Lord of Karma, I feel like you're going to experience some karmic romances over the next few years, 3.5 years. So you're going to have a lot of romantic affairs that were literally penciled in by the universe. Like, okay, well, in 2018, when, like, I'm the universe right now. In 2018, when Virgo has Saturn in their fifth house, it's going to be time for them to have fun. So let's pencil in this. Ooh, let's pencil in this girl. She works down here and she's going to be really good for this Virgo, or vice versa. Romantic affairs, karmic romantic affairs. Now, I just want to say here, you know, this I don't think this is exactly like a karmic relationship. If some of you don't, I'm going to do a video soon or someday about karmic relationships versus twin flames versus soulmate. But definitely that kind of energy here, Virgo. You know, a lot of people don't really know much about karmic relationships. I think they're beautiful because it's guaranteed that you've met this person in a last life. Like, if you meet someone who's familiar here to you, or you just click with them so much in the beginning, or when you first meet them, you see them and you're like, you know, it's because you've seen them in a past life. Now, I think that is how this kind of karma can manifest itself, you know. I know Virgo can be a rather serious sign. You are an earth sign, but you are immutable. So you're serious in a mutable way. You can change what you're being serious about, right? So, you know, I don't think Virgo, I don't think you guys have enough fun. Okay? I don't think you have enough fun. You're so responsible. I was just telling Leo, I did Leo's video just a second ago, and then I started yours. Leo has Saturn going into their 6th house. Virgo has Saturn going into their 5th house. So you and Leo are kind of changing places, because Leo is the 5th house on the wheel, and that's where Saturn is for you, and you are the 6th house, and that's where Saturn is for Leo. So Leo has Saturn in their house of you, of lifestyle and work. And I was telling them how Virgo you can watch that video if you want. I was telling them how Virgo can be very work hard, and then no play at all. And that's just like going to be so sucky for Leo, because they're kids, they're children, you know what I mean? And maybe you guys have Leo energy, so you might be experiencing that in a different area. But yeah, Virgo, it's no secret that you guys work hard. Like, you work hard. Earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Very hard workers, because you guys rule pinnacles. You rule money. You rule what's physical and materialistic here on the planet. So, Virgo, that's why you literally have always had, like, you probably grew up, and I think that's that comes up in your notes here. Like, you grew up so fucking fast, you know. Some of you could have been young in the breadwinners of your house at 12. You know what I mean? It's just because, Virgo, you guys are the angels and you're born with a sense of responsibility. And my heart goes out to you as my opposite sign. Because whereas Pisces can be fun and creative and no boundaries and love, 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 and I don't have to do anything, I can sleep until 3 every day, Virgo's out there beating the pavement, you know? It's because of Virgo that Pisces can be that free. Because Virgo's out here mastering the physical, like you guys are the 6th house. And when you reach Virgo on the zodiac wheel, it means that you have mastered your lifestyle. So you could be the bummiest, poorest, most unemployed Virgo ever. And I guarantee you, you still have a better grip on your lifestyle than the next guy. Just because of where you are on the wheel, okay? So all that serious talk, right? All that Saturn serious talk. But this is a more fun energy. You know, the 5th house is ruled by the sun. So this is you being aware of the pleasure. Like, have you ever given yourself enough time, Virgo, to sit down and think about what it is that actually makes you happy? What it is that, in some of you, it's going to be work. Some of you, you ask a Virgo, and I don't think that, you know, like, I think some of you maybe would think that work is your happiness. But if you dig deeper and if you allow yourself to feel those feelings that you try not to feel sometimes, Virgo, you will find that there is a creative, and I know there's some creative Virgos out there, but I'm talking more so to the Virgos who have been really serious, you know, forever. You know, those. Now the other Virgos who do, maybe you have a water sign moon or water sign rising, or maybe fire, then you do make sure that as hard as you're working, the harder you're playing. And that's a good balance here, the work hard, play hard aspect, because this is about happiness. And I feel like so many people, you know, this is a hard ass realm to live in. There's bills, there's children, there's, you know, like, things cost money. Toilet paper, toothpaste, everything costs money here. So you have to work. I can't tell you how many adults have told me that, because I have this kind of weird, strange view of money. You know, I don't really like to work. I'm always telling people, what is your dream? Remember your dream. What do you know, when I work, I want to work doing what I love. So I think that's coming up here for you. And back to that romance thing a little bit, because this is very much about romance. So just know, you know, that Saturn rules karma, and Saturn rules boundaries and limits, and it's about pushing your boundaries and limits. So for you, Virgo, I feel that maybe for a long time now, you have placed boundaries and limits on yourself. And Saturn is actually going to come here in a more soft, you should feel very lucky, Virgo. Now, I don't know for sure, but just by my astrology wisdom and by my vibes that I'm getting, I feel that Saturn this is a very weird place for Saturn to be in, but it's fun. And you should feel lucky, because some people have Saturn in a really like Capricorn. Capricorn has Saturn right on their sun now. And I know they're ruled by Saturn, so it might not be as harsh as I'm thinking, but even as me with a Capricorn rising, Saturn's in my 1st house. And it's really put the responsibility on me. So it's your responsibility now, Virgo, to have fun and to experience karmic pleasure in life. Have fun, Virgo. Live it up. Fall in love. Experience romantic affairs, because they're karmic. Be careful about placing boundaries. For those serious Virgos watching my channel right now, be careful about limiting these romantic affairs, because Saturn can also do that in the 5th house. Saturn can make you feel like, because Saturn rules doubts and worries and fears as well. So some of you may experience a new romantic feeling with someone, but since Saturn is in this 5th house, you're going to be like, I don't really know. I'm scared of these feelings, especially you, Virgo, because, you know, you're the opposite sign of Pisces, whereas Pisces feel everything. Virgo tries to feel the minimum that they can, because you're already working hard in the world. Why would we ask Virgo to work hard in the spiritual realm too, even though you're angels? So I know that you guys do work hard spiritually, but even angels, you know, and this is an argument that isn't proven, but, you know, based off of how I've seen angels portrayed in movies and how I've experienced angel energy, it's hard for angels to have emotion, because there's too much serious work that needs to be done. And doesn't that sound similar, Virgo? You know, like, sometimes you guys have to bite the bullet, and it often makes you guys make your emotions take the back seat. And I know you guys have a lot of feelings, but you guys put it in the back seat so that you're able to still drive. And I admire that. So, you know, you just want to make sure that you're not allowing, you know, create your own boundaries, Virgo, when it comes to this romance. but it's very much in the cards for you for the next few years to experience pleasure and happiness. About damn time for these Virgos, right? This is the sun we're talking about here. So happiness, prosperity, vitality, all of these beautiful, harmonious expressions, right? The sun is so expressive and beautiful, and it's warm and light. So that's what you're going to be experiencing. If it's up to Saturn, you will be. How awesome. So this placement, Saturn in the 5th house, it rules gambling. All right, I took some notes here for you. Gambling, also games. So in any activities. So, you know, on one end of the spectrum, some Virgos may need to restrict and place boundaries when it comes to gambling. But at the same time, you guys, this is karmic for you. So be careful, because you guys could be like one slot machine away from winning the big bucks. And if you create boundaries there, you know, you may miss out on winning. Like, since this is your karma in Virgo, you guys are a weird sign. You know, maybe it's because Saturn is your 5th house. So you're always playing around with karma. I mean, not Saturn. Capricorn is your guys' 5th house on the zodiac wheel. So you guys are always in your angels. If I was an angel, I'd play around with karma too. For all I know, there's an angel of karma. Because I believe there's an angel for everything. An angel of death, an angel of life, angel of love. So of course there's an angel of karma. I could be speaking to some of you right now. So since that's your 5th house, you guys experience karma. And I've talked to many Virgos. It's just no secret that if you do a Virgo wrong, since they're an angel, there's lots of different reasons why, but they will experience their karma quick. So this is not only about you experiencing your karma, but maybe even the pleasure and happiness of seeing somebody else finally get their karma as well. I know that sounds messed up, but these energies play out how they do. Now, okay, it does rule gambling. It rules games and it rules activities. So this can, on one end of the spectrum, some of you may, if you are already hardcore gamblers, I know some Virgos who really like to gamble and things like that, you may need to create, it's up to you guys. It's up to you to figure out what your intuition is telling you. But I'm just telling you in general how these energies can play out. And while I was doing research, I seen there that Saturn in the 5th house, it can be gambling. You know, this is if you think about it, gambling is really playing around with your karma. Like, I've got $400. Let me put 100 into this machine and see what happens. So karma. That's like, I think Saturn gambles with our lives. Like, we are slot machines. And I don't mean to say that, Saturn. You know, I don't mean that in a bad way. That's just my Pisces way of explaining that in a metaphoric type of way, we are slot machines. We are living in a casino, and our lives are the coins. Like, just like Lil Wayne said, you know, life is a gamble and I'm all about my poker chips. So there you go, Virgo. So, you know, this is gambling. Some of you might be doing some more gambling or something like that. And others of you may be creating boundaries. Like, you know, for the last 3 years, you know, I've been gambling a lot and I'm just not going to gamble as much. So that's up to you guys. But I'm going to let you know that there are some of you out there who there's some karmic going on there, so you guys might actually win no, I didn't put lottery, but the lottery is gambling as well. So I don't know, some of y'all might be dabbling into the casino life. I don't know, but I want to get to this other information here. Another thing is, Virgo, for the last 3 years, Saturn has been in your 4th house. Not so cool. You know, I know plenty of Virgos who have actually experienced, and the 4th house is all about emotional security. It's all about a home for your emotions. So I think some of you, since now Saturn has moved out of Sagittarius, your 4th house, and into Leo, your 5th house, karma is in a completely different place for you. Whereas before, maybe you couldn't feel certain things. You know, you didn't really feel like you had a foundation for your emotions because Saturn was restricting and placing boundaries on those emotions. Well, now Saturn has left. Saturn don't care. Saturn doesn't care what you feel or what. Like, Virgo is off the hook. You can feel whatever you want now, but you better have fun because Saturn's in your 5th house. So this is all about your authentic self-expression. The 5th house of Leo is all about self-expression because they're the fire sign, okay? So you want to make sure you're stabilizing your self-expression, and you have to express yourself, Virgo. For the next 3 years, it is so important that you are passionately, now you have to be careful here because when we talk about fire, it's very close to rage and that fiery energy can light a fire in you to where it's fumes. But no, just keep it hot, keep it passionate, keep it steamy, and channel that. Okay, when you're expressing these emotions that you haven't been able to express for the last 3 years and finally can now, you want to express it in a creative way. So this is creative self-expression. And also being secure within who you are, Virgo. You know, sometimes, and I'm a Pisces, so I know certain things about Virgo because you're my opposite sign, and Virgo's my 8th house as well. So I do love you guys very nearly and dearly. And I just know that, you know, you guys are these secure people when it comes to your job and when it comes to work, but I know secretly Virgo lacks this security within themselves. You know, you guys experience a lot of self-doubt because you're constantly thinking, and you know, you do strive for perfection because of the zodiac wheel. And so while you're striving for that perfection, you know, you can burn yourself out and get yourself into a think hell. You know what I mean? A chaotic thinking spiral. So, you know, you want to let that go, Virgo, and you want to just express yourself in a way. I feel like for the next 3 years, you're going to be becoming who you really are. You know, someone who can experience pleasure and not feel bad about it. Okay, some of you experience pleasure, but the whole time you're thinking, you know, Virgo. So it's being secure with who you are. And it's overcoming inner barriers and outer barriers. So this is barriers that exist within you and barriers that exist on the outside of you. Now these can be inner barriers, the very inner barriers that are keeping you from this pleasure, right? This is up to you guys. Some of you listening, maybe you're good Virgos, or I don't mean good or bad Virgos, but what I meant to say is that maybe you've been handling this good. And maybe you do experience pleasure, because Virgos are so fun. They're such adventurous people, right? But at the same time, I think you guys struggle a little bit with, you know, all work and no play. So you just want to be careful with that. And you want to overcome those inner barriers, the barriers that make you feel bad for going out and getting this for yourself, because you're constantly putting other people before you, Virgo, just like Pisces. You're and you physically, Pisces emotionally put people before them. You guys physically put people before you. So, you know, when it comes to my partner, she'll get me a pop and go without a pop. You know what I mean? Or she'll make sure I have everything that I need, and she'll get the bare minimum. You know what I mean? So that's not creative. That's not pleasure. That's not self-expression. So you're going to have to balance that out, Virgo. Overcome those barriers and those limitations there. You don't want to let Saturn limit your self-expression, right? He's already limited your emotions for the past 3 years. So you need to create your own boundaries now when it comes to people, you know, that you've put before you. And you want to overcome that. So what I have here is that Saturn in the 5th house, it can become a lot like childlike karma is what I wrote. So it's almost like karma from when you're a child, Virgo. So we're getting into that part here where I mentioned that Virgo grew up too soon. A lot of Virgos that I know have always been wise. They've always been responsible. They've always cared about their character. You know, and no wonder it's about authentic self-expression. Now, Virgo, I know you guys care so much about your character and your integrity, right? This is all about Saturn. This is all Saturn in your 5th house now. So maybe you guys can get creative with that. And it's also the creative awareness, you know, in your life. You're going to become aware of the creativity that's inside you, and even more so than what you already have maybe. Now, with this childlike karma, maybe over the next few years, you know, if you find yourself thinking about your childhood, anything traumatic that may have happened, it's fine for that to come up, because Saturn is going to create the boundaries that you need, or maybe dissolve the boundaries that were there when you were a kid, because maybe something traumatic happened to you, Virgo, when you were a child. You know, and Saturn's going to come there and create new and improved boundaries, because sometimes we carry boundaries. It's so sad, because the main thing about this placement, Virgo, when I was writing notes, it's just, I feel pulled in 2 different directions. So you guys could very well feel pulled in 2 different directions over the next few years, because it's like you want to be a child. You guys are children at heart. Leo is your guys' 12th house. So you guys, the 12th house is all about your subconscious. It's all about creativity. So it's so amazing how this energy is playing out for you. Subconsciously, you guys are always that kind of child, but then you're as soon as you come to this realm, you're just met with such responsibility, right? You're met with such service to others. Angels, all angels do is guide people and help people and heal people and teach people and save people. So that it's just me. It's like other people come to you, me, like, help me, angel, this. And what do? We pray to these angels, and, you know, and we don't thank them enough. We don't send them light enough. And you guys are the physical angels of this realm. And it's really sad to me that the angels of this realm had to grow up so fast, Virgo. So this is childlike karma. Now, on the more positive end, karma in a childlike way is very awesome, because what happens to a child when they do wrong? What happens to a child? You know, they just get a little slap on the wrist. So I think, Virgo, that Saturn is going to be a little bit more easy on you, especially for the Virgos who have been really, really working hard for the last few years when Saturn was in Sagittarius. I think you guys worked really hard. Before that, Virgo was the North Node, and you guys worked hard during that. So for those Virgos who have put in the work, I think Saturn, you're going to experience some of the best years of your life for the next few years, because you're going to experience childlike karma. Now, the only problem you may have with that is the lack of seriousness. You might feel weird, like, why are things so fun? Why are things so good? You know, you guys can sometimes be Satan in a Sunday hat, like, where that is too good to be true. And I love that saying, Satan in a Sunday hat. Sometimes things are too good to be true, but be careful of those fears and doubts and boundaries that Saturn rules, right? So you want to push these creative boundaries, Virgo. Push the boundaries from when you were a child. Another thing that kind of just came to my mind as I was talking to you is that children don't have any boundaries. And that's why sometimes when we're kids, this is why horrible things, sometimes, and you know this, Virgo, you guys are the angels, so you know about the dark that happens here. It's horrible. I watch SVU. I watch these things. There's horrible things sometimes that happen to children. They wander. This is why you don't talk to strangers and stuff when you're a kid. But, you know, I'm sure I'm not talking to any children here. But it fits in, Virgo, because, you know, this is about, your challenge here is to breathe in and become and morph back into when you were a child. That's your karma right now. Saturn wants you to push your boundaries in a way where you're letting your boundaries down enough to experience pleasure in life as a kid. Run through the forest, pick some dandelions, make a wish on one of those flowers, you know. So it's very contradicting here. And I wish you guys all the luck, because these are the notes I have for you. And as I'm writing the notes, I'm like, what? Like, but I understand it. It's childlike karma, and I think it's fun. I think if you guys have fun, and if you handle this in a vibrant way, if you handle these deep memories from your childhood and you let them karmically go because they're no longer dictating your life, you know, if you love that part of you that grew up too soon, Virgo, you're going to experience some of the greatest karma over the next few years. Now, the last thing I have for you, Virgo, the best way to handle this, and the best advice I have for you, is live in the moment. What do children do? And I'm like getting emotional here. What do children do? They live in the moment. They're not afraid. Children don't have boundaries or fears. You know, I heard once that the only fears we have are of loud noises and falling. With the only fears that we're born with is loud noises and falling. Any other fear that you have beside that is a self-fulfilled fear. And I know that we're all afraid of a lot fucking more than that now. I'm not even afraid of loud noises or, you know, falling that much. I'm afraid of rejection and things like, you know, I'm not me personally, but some people are afraid of that kind of thing. Well, we weren't afraid of that when we were a kid. We weren't afraid to take out a piece of paper and draw a sun with a smiley face, you know. So live in the moment, Virgo. Live in your moment now, and know that your moments that you're living in are going to become more pleasurable. They're going to become more pleasurable. They're going to become more creative. And I put on the top of this paper, free to be me, with a question mark. Yeah, Virgo, you are. You are free to be yourself now. Time has changed. This is a completely different timeline that we're living on now, that Capricorn has Saturn there. This is different. So embrace this new life. And there's pleasure in your future, is what I'm trying to say. There's creativity. Your future looks very pleasurable. It looks very bright. It looks very creative. Okay, Virgo, I love this. You guys were one of my most excited videos to do because I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to explain that. I think that's good news. The only struggle here is the struggle that's going to take place between this contradiction of work versus play. All you have to do is handle it in a creative way, Virgo, and I have all the faith in you, okay? So, that's what I have for you for Saturn in your 5th house. Now, if you're confused, if you didn't really understand this, then and just keep in mind this has 3 years to manifest. So I'm just giving you a generalized kind of ways to prepare for the different aspects that Saturn can kind of bring in this karma for you and these limitations and these boundaries that you need to push. But, you know, you're a Virgo, and I know you have your own way of analyzing and understanding things. So you can do what I done if you have any questions. You can research Saturn in the 5th house, or you can research Saturn in Leo, and you'll get a good idea of what the next 3 years of your life are going to look like based off of this big bad karmic Saturn here. Now, you can always message me as well. I have my information below, my email, my website, my Facebook, whatever's best for you, Virgo. I would love to talk to you guys. You know I love Virgo. Virgo's my opposite sign, so I'm very fond of your guys' energy. So I hope this was helpful, Virgo, and that you enjoyed this video. That's all I have for you today. Until next time when I talk to you guys in, I think, maybe about a week or so, I'll be putting up your January videos. So talk to you then. See ya.